Eighth grade. I was having trouble with the Netflix subscription and some questions, so I called their handy dandy helpline, and I asked the rep if they had Batman Forever, and he said no, just till the end of June. Oh man. My friend and I watched 3 Netflix movies back to back when we were in college. 3. It's a good thing I was the one facing the TV. Nice. Okay. This video is going to be about what you need to know for this upcoming quiz. And I'm also going to talk about some things that I saw when you guys were taking your test, your chapter 5 and 6 test. Mistakes that were made, things that I think could be better. So I think I'll start off with that. Obviously, you know, some of you who scored, basically if you scored lower than like 50% on it, I assume that's because either you haven't been doing the work or you didn't study at all, right? So what I'm about to say is for people who failed or got like a D or maybe a C, but, you know, at least answered the questions and tried, right? So if you got lower than the 50%, it's probably not going to be helpful to you because you know what you did wrong. If you got over 50%, but you didn't get a good grade, then I think this will be helpful to you. So the number one reason that people got low grades is because I think you ran out of time. I think the idea of you having to take the test within the limited time span that I gave you intimidated you, and you just didn't manage the time very well. So there's a few things that I want you to do next time that I think are going to help you manage the time better. Number one, and if you already did this on the last one, then okay. But I get the sense that several of you did not. Number one, you need to have everything ready out in front of you before your test starts, right? So if I say your test starts at 9 o'clock, that doesn't mean you open your laptop at 9 o'clock and open your book at 9 o'clock and open all your tabs at 9 o'clock. Because by the time you have everything open, it's going to be like 9:05, right? And there you lost 5 minutes already just by opening everything up. So you need to have everything open and ready to go before your test, not when the test starts. Right? That'll save you 5 minutes. Number two, I think that because you guys knew that this was open note, open book, you could use the internet, you just assumed that you'd be able to look things up if you didn't know the answer. That's true, but hopefully as you learn taking the last test, it takes time to look things up. And then it takes even more time to translate what you looked up into your own words and write them down. Right? You need to prepare for this test or this upcoming quiz just like you would for a regular quiz. That means study the night before. That means make sure you have a good grasp on all of the vocab words. That means you need, because again, remember, the vocab, not worth very much, right? You should be spending at most 1 minute on each vocab question, right? 5 minutes total at most on the vocab section. Because points-wise, it is not worth it to waste time on the vocab. So if you don't know the vocab, then forget it. Move on. All the vocab put together on the test, I think, was worth the same as a short answer question. So if you spent a ton of time on the vocab and you ran out of time, I mean, that's like getting one short answer question right. It's just not worth it. So yeah, you need to prepare for this like this is a regular quiz. Okay, that means study the night before. Don't assume that you're going to have time during the quiz to look up answers to questions that you're not sure about. Another issue I think is that you were overly concerned about getting all the details. And so you spent a lot of time crafting a really good answer to one question, but that meant that your answers to the other questions were really weak. Okay, so yeah, time management is definitely the number one issue that people had, and it hurt them. And you can prepare to manage your time better. I think it's really important that you learn to take online tests because honestly, in the future, I think there's a really good chance that you're going to be taking more classes from home like this. And that means that you might be taking more tests from home like this. I'm not saying that there's going to be another outbreak or anything, but I do think that a lot of high schools are going to start having classes that you take from home sometimes. And if high schools don't do it, I'm sure colleges will. So you need to be able to develop the skills to take online time tests. And this is a really good opportunity for you to do it. Because when you do this in high school, if you don't do well on an online test, that's part of your permanent transcript, right? That doesn't go away. Here in junior high, your grades are very important, of course, but what's more important is that you actually learn how to take these online tests, because this is going to be a feature of test taking in the future. Okay, another issue that I think people had taking this test on chapter 5 and 6 was that because you're not in class, the environment that you're in when you are learning about whatever topic I'm teaching is not ideal. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? I can't come to your house and teach you, and we can't like meet at the classroom. That's not going to happen. But it is important that when you are taking your test and when you are watching these videos, you are in an environment where you can be doing everything you need to do without distractions. So it might be a good idea to go to a part of your house where your brother or sister's voice isn't going to reach you. It might be a good idea for you to leave your phone in the kitchen and you go to your bedroom, right? If you have your own bedroom. You're going to have to figure out how you can watch these videos all the way through without getting distracted, right? Now, the good thing about having everything pre-recorded in a video like this is if I'm talking about something that you already know, you can skip through it, right? You can skim ahead. And likewise, if there's something that I said that you didn't understand, you can scroll back and repeat it, right? And of course, as always, you can leave comments on Classroom and I'll respond to them. The reason I'm bringing up the Netflix videos is because I know that half of you are not watching them at all, right? So if you're not watching the videos at all, that's like not being in class, right? And that's just, you're relying on the internet and the slides and the book to answer the questions on the test, which is possible, but so far it hasn't resulted in any good grades, because with the curve on the last test, some people did okay, but without the curve, the highest score on the last test would have been a 75%, right? Which, as we know, is on the border between a D and a C minus. Right? So I do know that people who would normally be at least partially paying attention in class are not paying attention at all because the videos aren't getting watched, right? I'm only getting like 5 views from you guys per video. So I assume that means 5 of you are watching it. Maybe 3 or 4 of you are watching it and you're watching it twice. You're not watching the videos. You can't expect to do well. You don't have to watch the entire thing. You can scroll through the jokes at the beginning. You can scroll through stuff you already know, but you need to be good at identifying which parts of the videos contain information that is important to you. All right. So that's it. Oh, and then of course, for those of you who started the test late, because there were a couple people who started it late, you can't expect to do well if you don't wake up on time. All right. So I don't have anything else to say about that. All right, let's talk about what you need to know for this quiz. So remember, vocab, numbers 1 through 5, not going to be worth as much. So on the test, each vocab question was 1 point out of 40. On this quiz, basically I'm going to make the entire vocab section worth 3 points. All right. So if you get one wrong, that means you get 2 out of 3. Right? If you get 2 wrong, that means you only get 1 out of 3. If you get 3 wrong, I give you a 0. If you get 4 wrong, you get a 0. You get 5 wrong, you get a 0. Now the good thing is, on the last test, nobody in the class got more than 3 wrong. All right. So there's nobody that completely failed the vocab. That completely blanked on the vocab part. But again, I suspect that some of you spent way too much time on the vocab. Not worth it. Better to get a 0 on the vocab and 100% on everything else. If you get a 0 on the vocab and 100% on everything else, you got a 35 out of 40 on the test, or 41 or whatever I made it out of. And, well, yeah, it would have been 5 points off and you would have ended up with an A, even if you totally blanked on the vocab. So again, vocab's not worth spending your time on. Study it the night before. Have the study guide out with you. That way you can refer to the words. Look at it, answer it as best you can, but do not spend more than 5 minutes on it. It's not worth it. All right, short answers. 3 short answers here. Because the vocab's not worth as much, that means the short answers are worth more. All right. Long answers, there's 2 of them. Hold on a second. Yeah, 2 long answer questions. Likewise, these are also worth more. All right, so I can't tell you if they're going to be like worth, maybe one's going to be worth 4 and one's going to be worth 6. Maybe they're both going to be worth 5. I don't know. Just expect long answers to be worth more than normal. All right. There is an extra credit on this one. I don't think I had an extra credit on your test, but on this quiz there is an extra credit question. It has to do with the Missouri Compromise. All right. So that's your clue, Missouri Compromise. Okay, things you need to focus on. There's a question about Lowell Mills. There is a question about the Missouri Compromise. There's also a question about transporting goods, right? So the different ways to ship goods from one place to another, right? And I'm going to ask you to compare and contrast the options for transporting goods. There is a long answer question about the Industrial Revolution. It's a very general, open-ended question. In fact, I bet you can guess what that question is based on the videos in the book. Is there anything else you need to know? Oh yeah, of course, I'm also going to be asking about slavery. So there's another question about slavery. Not going to tell you if that's a long answer or a short answer question, though. All right. So Missouri Compromise, slavery, Lowell Mills, transportation, Industrial Revolution in general. these are the topics you need to focus on. So, obviously, I'll repeat what I said earlier because it's really important. Just because this is an open book, open note quiz where you can use the internet does not mean that you are actually going to have the time to use all of those things. All right, they are available to you as a crutch, as something to help you if you totally blank, but you should not be spending your time flipping through your book, looking through the slides for the answers to these questions. You should already know these questions and how to answer them off the top of your head. The fact that it's open book is just like a safety net for you. All right. You should not be spending, ideally when you take this test, maybe you use the slides to like double check some answers. Maybe you use the book to help you with like a part of a long answer question. Maybe you use Google just to look up a vocab word to see what it means and see if it matches what you used it on. But really, you don't have time to do all of that. So ideally, you only do like one or two of those things, like once, and that's it. All right, I will end it now.